Greetings, all you villains out there. I'm Duuz-Diz-Din, and I'm coming at you with another chapter review of My Hero Academia. This time it's chapter 238, titled Liberation. And we start off after the flashback, after Tomura Shigaraki finally gotten back all of his memories. He has decided to kill those memories. He went full Kylo Ren. What was it he said? You have to bury the past, kill it if you have to, in order to move forward. And the bindings that originally were on Tomura, that he was given, these things that, were used to push his powers forward, are no longer going to be a factor. He will step forward in his own way going forward. Meanwhile, Redestro is going all in. He is at 100% and he is ready to strike. But Tomura also goes in with his own attack to basically destroy the stress blast before it even comes into contact with him. There's this massive shockwave that rocks the city in its entirety. However, after all of that, after this massive blast has gone off from Redestro, Tomura Shigaraki steps forward. Unharmed? It's kind of hard to say that after how bloody and bruised he's gotten up to this point, but yeah, no, he's become a G, he's become a legend, he's become a monster. And he simply states, yeah, well, if I destroy your attack before you take a full swing, it's not really much of anything special, you're just big. But I get it, it's fun to destroy stuff. Well, that's the whole thing. But Redestro takes real offense to that. It's just like, no, this power is for a cause. It's to carry out the will of Destro. But, Redestro inside, he's starting to get a little wary. His heart's pounding. He starts to feel like, what's going on? Am I feeling fear? But even still, I turn fear into power. That shouldn't be causing me any kind of setback. But Tomura, like an absolute monster, is just like, oh, what's wrong, Redestro? Feeling a little stressed? It's just like, what the fuck? And, Redestro starts to have a flashback, so that's how you basically know he's done. Where, he would talk with the supporters of his ancestor, how they've been hiding for generations, and he would inherit Destro's will, that he would accomplish this. And, Redestro starts to kind of freak out for the most part, so he summons the degenerate support items that he has, a stress-amplifying armor mech called Crestro, that amplifies his stress-based powers to 150%. Which, whenever I get that 150% from certain characters, it's just like, no, you couldn't really do that if it's just you. But with an actual additive, with something that boosts and amplifies your powers, yeah, that makes sense. There's an addition on it which is able to boost how far you're able to go. But it's just like, well, dude, you were already really powerful. I really don't think boosting on top of that is going to do much. Meanwhile, we then cut over to Twice, ushering out his main body as well as Shimiki Toga out of the way. But he starts to wonder, it's great that he's drawing the Liberation Army away, that he's, that Gigantomachia, I should say, is just luring all of the Liberation Army away, drawing all of their attention and fire. You notice that, man, this is too one-sided. He's dominating all of them. We were originally planning on using this to ultimately take Gigantomachia down, but if they're not even posing a threat to this guy, then it's not much of a use to us. And even Compress knows that, man, we really didn't need him to wake up this early. With him clashing with the league's basically just done. It's over for them. So he's just like, even they're starting to worry about the league for the most part. So Compress calls into the doctor to tell, hey, rein in Gigantomachia. This is too much. We might even end up getting caught in the crossfire. But the doctor isn't really having any of it. He doesn't want to help them because it's just like, oh, well, why should I help you guys out? You were so careless as to be caught in the enemy's wake. Why don't you just shake them off? Why don't you just try again? Why don't you just do your own thing? Get out of this mess yourself that you created. And Compressor's just like, but what about Shigaraki? He's All For One's successor. Are you just gonna let him die? But the doctor's just like, whatever. That's why we need to drive him into a corner. Really show what he's worth, what he's made of. If he can't get through something like this, then he wasn't shit to begin with. Which, hey, true words, true that. That's some balls to the wall, just kind of like, whatever. If it was meant to be, it's meant to be. If not, if not. But then we have the one dude with the ice powers coming in, Apocrypha, who, he thinks back to how Redestro, boosted him up, put everything on his shoulders, just like, yeah, you're supposed to be the one to, we built you up after all this time, and your power is the best thing to go up against Dabi's flame powers. So you are the cornerstone of our organization. You are our ace in the hole. But Apocrypha, he has to redirect all of his energy to hopefully taking down Gigantomachia with as much of his ice as possible, because this guy is just tearing up their organization. But even with the great power that Apocrypha has, Gigantomachia is even more powerful, and he simply just knocks away Apocrypha and all of his ice. And even Trumpet starts to kind of worry. It's just like, oh god, what is this thing? What can we do? And he drives the car off to get to Redestro. Apocrypha sent flying. Spinner is still hanging on to the back of Trumpet's what's it called, his campaign van, trying to take him out of the running and all that good stuff, just take him down because of the way he boosts the Liberation Army's powers. But at this point, it's just like, it don't really matter too much, and Gigantomachia is just raging out, just looking for Tomura during all of this, just looking to find him. But, Redestro is just like, no, we're all going for one specific thing, the freedom to use our powers. It's the new wave of human nature, enduring pain, awakening your power. But then he starts to kind of realize that that's kind of what Tomura is. He's giving into the natural state of his powers, which is decay, which is destruction. And he even kind of comments on the fact that, Redestro is using 150%. It's just like, it's kind of funny. It's kind of like that whole plus ultra thing, ain't it? Weird. And as he sees Tomura Shigaraki simply touch the ground and unleash this massive shockwave of decay, he just thinks to himself, Redestro thinks, it's kind of like he's been liberated from something. It's kind of like he's just giving in to his base instincts. Is that what this weird feeling I have is? A kind of feeling like This man is the true face of liberation, of everything that we've gone for, and it really makes you think. It's just like, yeah, it kinda is. These creatures, these beings that you railed against so much, now that Redestro and his crew are actually fighting them, they're just exactly what they're looking for. This anarchist group of destroyers. Hey, that's exactly what you were going for. A group of people who just use their powers unabashedly and develop them, grow them, and let them just go all out with wild abandon. And if others die in the wake, well, they just weren't simply strong enough to stand on the liberation that is superhuman powers. It really just paints an eerie picture in terms of this, that someone like Redestro would gain respect for the face of anarchy and just destruction and decay. Oof, what a chilling arc. But it really does make you wonder, like, how Redestro has come to this conclusion. You know, where does Tomura Shigaraki go with all of this? He's developed his powers to such an extent, to such a degree that it's just like, how is he stopped? Where does he stop after this point? How do you bring this creature, this monster called Tomura Shigaraki, down when going 150% of full-on power can't even seem to touch him? Tell me your thoughts and comments in the comments section below. How did you feel about Redestro's power boost? How do you feel about Tomura Shigaraki's power boost? How do you feel about the fact that he is no longer bound by the shackles that were his past? He has been unleashed, and woe be any hero who gets in his way, because it will lead to nothing but decay. Oof, chilling. But if you liked this video, leave me a like. If you didn't, feel free to leave me a dislike and tell me what I did wrong in the comment section below so I might better myself for future videos. Subscribe and hit the bell icon, that way you never miss out on another My Hero Academia chapter review. And if you want to find me on social media, just Google Duuz-Diz-Din. I am everywhere for better or for worse. And until the next video, just remember that liberate yourself from the shackles of what society deems to be right, because sometimes that's the only way to discover the true you, the dangerous you, the fun you that throws caution to the wind and goes beyond. Till next time, I'm Duuz-Diz-Din and I'm going to bed. Bye-bye.